Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. I'm Hugh Riches. In the headlines tonight, a meeting in Westminster about BAE systems, empty homes in North East Lincolnshire, and a student scholarship. And later in tonight's programme, Ted Stanley unveils a new writing competition with Hammond House Publishing, and before that, Claire Sykes on helping older people at Christmas in Abbeyfield. A Defence Committee meeting took place at Westminster today to determine the restructuring of BAE Systems. Last month, the company revealed plans to cut 400 jobs at the factory in Giraffe. Company representatives and union bosses were at the meeting and are expected to discuss the impact the job cuts could have on the area. Also from Westminster today, Labour's Diana Johnson, MP for Hull North, questioned the Secretary of State for Health on the Hull baby ashes scandal. She asked Jeremy Hunt why a promised inquiry has never happened. Mr Hunt said he'd look into the matter. Humberside Police is appealing for help after a robbery took place earlier this morning in Withensea. Police were called to a shop on Queen Street shortly before 6:30 a.m. 3 people wearing masks entered the premises and threatened a woman with a knife before stealing items and leaving the area in a blue car. The woman was left shaken but uninjured. Anyone with information is asked to call 101, quoting log 58 for the date the 28th of the 11th 17, or Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111. The number of empty homes in North East Lincolnshire is the 9th highest in the country. That's according to new figures released today by the BBC. The borough saw a 32% increase in empty homes between 2015 and 2016. North East Lincolnshire was ranked 9th out of 360 councils for the number of empty homes in relation to population size. Figures also show that the rate of empty homes per square kilometre in 2016 was the highest for 5 years. The BBC study revealed 954 empty homes in North East Lincolnshire in 2011, 961 in 2012. The numbers dropped to 739 in 2013 before jumping to 991 the following year. That figure rocketed to 1,052 in 2015 and 1,385 in 2016. According to North East Lincolnshire Council's own figures, there are 1,794 properties in North East Lincolnshire that have been empty for more than 6 months, with 697 empty for more than 2 years. Ørsted has announced a new wind farm in Hornsea. Hornsea Project 1 will be the biggest wind farm in the world. Contracts have been signed and around half the parts will be made in Teesside. With a capacity of 1.2 gigawatts, the 174 turbine project will be the first wind farm with a capacity of over 1 gigawatt, capable of supplying well over 1 million homes. 150 jobs in Teesside have been secured thanks to the project. Offshore construction for the Hornsea Project 1 will begin later this year, and the wind farm is expected to be working in 2020. Hull has one of the highest premature mortality rates in the country. That's according to new figures released by the Office for National Statistics. Figures show that 1,255.3 deaths per 100,000 people last year were recorded against a UK average of 982.5. North Lincolnshire recorded 1,022 deaths per 100,000 people, while North East Lincolnshire recorded 1,093 deaths. A community centre in Hull is celebrating a notable milestone today. The North Bransholme Community Centre opened exactly 30 years ago. Trustees at the centre, David Daniels, explains some more about what went on today.
Well, today's event is all about celebrating 30 years since the building was actually officially opened by the Lord Mayor in that day. It was Councillor Harry Woodford. It was exactly to the date when this was opened 30 years ago, which is, and we just want to recognise that this is carry on that legacy. One of his choice words was use it or lose it, and it's certainly been used for 30 years, despite its closure for 3 years. But we've now got to the state where it is being reopened. There's quite a variety of sessions going on. We just want people to get involved and to be aware that the community centre is open for all the community, and we just want to see it perhaps last for another 30 years.
We've had lots of things. It's been quite surprising once you actually start researching what's been happening actually at this centre. Would you believe there's been a swimming pool at the centre? A swimming pool in this very hall. So children had some fun for quite a while enjoying that. And then we've also had a wedding reception here. They actually hide out the whole hall. The hall's also been used for the floods. There was a floods in Hull in, I do believe it was 2007. It was used as a rescue centre.
In today's day and age, a lot of community centres sort of fold up or they're closed for one reason or another. But for a community centre to last for 30 years and to be used and be popular, it's been well used by the community. It's been a hub of the community. There are other community associations in and around the estate which do equally a fantastic job. And between us all, we have liaison meetings and we do get together and we do sort of support each other. So for the public, I think they've got plenty going on the North Bransholm estate. But it's welcome for anybody who lives off the estate to come and join in with the events. And we've had many successful ones in the past and hope to do a lot more in the future.
A Hull man has been fined after pleading guilty to knowingly fly tipping. Beg your pardon. Glenderry Jones of Hermes Close in Hull appeared before Beverley Magistrates Court on Friday the 24th of November. The court heard how a street scene enforcement officer from East Riding Council had found fly-tipped waste which had been dumped on a roadside verge on Frodingham Road in Rimswell on the 1st of June. The waste, which included a large number of cardboard boxes, a baby walker, glass table and numerous boxes of children's toys as well as wrapping paper, was traced back to a woman in Hull. The woman told officers she'd contacted Mr Jones via Facebook and had paid him £40 to remove the items, but he did not provide her with a receipt or say where the waste would be taken or show her a copy of his waste carrier's licence. Jones was tracked down via Facebook, but in court he said that he didn't take the waste from the woman himself, but paid someone else to do it and gave them the money. He was fined £40, has to pay costs of £300 and a victim surcharge of £30. It was like the generation game. I'm joined now by Claire Sykes, who's launching a campaign to help people enjoy some good company over Christmas. Claire, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me, Hugh.
Now, this is the Abbeyfield organisation.
Yes. Yep.
The organisation Abbeyfield Institute?
Well, Abbeyfield Society.
Abbeyfield Society.
It's companionship at Christmas for the older people, basically, to combat loneliness.
Well, let's just talk about the Abbeyfield Society and its history a little bit more. How was it started and what does it do?
It was started in the 50s by a Mr Richard Gorgom. He came out the army and just sort of saw there wasn't much really for older people. So he bought one property and installed a housekeeper and 2 or 3 people, and that was it, really. And from then on, it's grown and grown and grown.
And so how many houses like this where you have people effectively house sharing with a housekeeper, how many of them are there around the country?
They're all over the country and in abroad as well. Australia, South Africa, Holland, to name but a few. There's probably not a county without one.
And there's one in Grimsby where you're in charge.
Yes.
Whereabouts is that?
In Pelham Road, off Bargate.
So what happens effectively is that you come together, you share a house, you've got some privacy, of course.
Oh,
but
yes.
You share a house. And so what's it like?
Well, good fun, really. People, they come, they all have their own keys to the front door and to the property. They meet up for meal times where meals are provided and cooked for them by the cook, housekeeper. We provide the provisions for breakfast so that they don't have, there's nobody's telling them they have to be up by a certain time. They come and go, they're independent. It's exactly the same as you would be if you lived in your own house, basically.
Except that you've got some company to keep.
Yes.
You've got a sort of like a little family
Yes.
of like-minded people.
Yes, we had 3 of our residents, they had afternoon tea together after lunch. They stayed for an hour and just chatted in the sitting room and had tea and biscuits, and then they trotted off back to their own apartments.
I suppose, like any gathering of people living together, and especially families, but there's bound to be the occasional tiff.
Oh yes. I mean, yes, they don't always get on all of the time, but, you can't please all the people all of the time.
How many people do you have living in the Pelham
We
Road
only
house?
have 7, but we can only accommodate 8. 8 is our maximum number. We're only small. But there are other Abbeyfields all around the country that have a bigger or the same size. The next closest one to us is Lincoln, or there's one in Beverley.
And the minimum age is
55.
Which doesn't strike me as very old, Claire.
No, I qualify.
So what you're doing at Christmas is people, hopefully this is good companionship anyway in these houses, but other people are invited to come along.
Yes, if you know you're going to be on your own over the Christmas period, it doesn't have to be Christmas Day, it could be any day, just give us a ring on Grimsby 01472 241605 and just say you would like to come for lunch.
And you get a nice turkey duck at dinner.
Yep, or whatever dinner's going that day. So,
okay.
you know.
And so it's not really just specifically for Christmas, so
No.
that's when you think it's really just the dark months.
Yes, yeah. We usually start it around October and it goes on into February, you know, but there's all different things. We have a coffee morning on a Wednesday that the people are welcome to come along and have a coffee and a chat, or a cup of tea and a chat.
It sounds like just an exceptionally civilised lifestyle. It sounds brilliant. Why have I never heard of this organisation?
Because it's one of the best kept secrets going.
Okay, Claire. Well, it's no longer a secret, I'm very glad to
No.
say. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Join me after the break. Jack will bring us a roundup of all the latest sports news, and Ted Stanley's here to discuss a new competition, or a new iteration of a competition for Hammond House Publishing. Welcome back. You're watching SG News. Still to come tonight, Jack brings us a roundup of all the latest sporting action, and I'll be joined by Ted Stanley, who'll be talking about a writing competition. People whose lives have been affected by the Humber Bridge are to have their stories cemented in a new project. Hidden Histories of the Humber Bridge aims to capture, preserve and share the cultural record of the Grade 1 listed building via an online archive. The archive will be accessible to all. The project has been given £65,700 by the Heritage Lottery Fund. It'll recruit volunteers to interview residents, architects, labourers and engineers to capture experiences of working and living by the bridge. The project will organise events, workshops, a travelling exhibition and a festival. Anyone who'd like to find out more can email mail@humberbridge.co.uk, that's Humberbridge all one word, or call 01482 647 161. Two students from Archbishop Sentamu Academy in Hull have won acting scholarships for the Institute of the Arts in Barcelona. The scholarship is worth a six-figure sum. The Institute doesn't usually offer scholarships, but after a performance of the Jane Thornton play Ocho, performed by the students, the Institute's principal felt they were an exception to the norm. Corey Rylands, one of the students going to Barcelona, says he and fellow student Ellie Idison couldn't contain themselves when they found out the news.
It's a private university, which means the fees are higher than what they would normally be, and people come from all around the world, and they were saying, "Oh, it's, you know, we don't normally take scholarships, difficult." But so they thought, well, it's inspirational. At least we've come here to perform here, so we're having a bit more than what other people normally get, so that's fine. And then they did the play, and after the play they said, we want to take two of them and give them scholarships. So for me it was a dream come true as well. Like for me and Lucy Riley, the teacher, we were like, wow, this is just like everything we would have wished for. So and it's not just them as well, it's like the rest of the cast we're hoping will now get places here at different drama schools and colleges and universities, and they will, I think, nearly all of them be the first in their family to do that. So it's a huge achievement.
I was absolutely speechless, to be honest. It didn't sink in until about a week later, because me and the other student, Ellie, we just got told we had a meeting tonight, so we was like, oh, what have we done wrong? What are we in trouble for? And then we got to the meeting, and our parents was there, Jane and John was there, and they told us we'd been awarded this scholarship, and we started crying, like we couldn't contain ourselves. It was unbelievable. When we were there, we toured the institute before we performed and like started dress running and stuff, and they said they don't really advertise it, and they've never done this before to this scale. Offer two scholarships to two students like this, so yeah, it's a first, really. For
them to meet, you know, just people from all over, and to be in another country, and yeah, I think it'll give them so much, you know, their confidence has already been boosted by doing Ocho, and this is just going to build on it more and more and enable them to travel more, and just, you know, fantastic.
North East Lincolnshire Council is gearing up to keep traffic moving this winter. Working in partnership with NG, the council has spent the last few weeks testing gritting vehicles, training drivers and delivering salt to ensure they have enough to last the winter. Gritters used 1,400 tonnes of rock salt across the borough's 293 kilometres of treated roads, with drivers completing 54 runs. The council advises drivers to check local weather forecasts and ensure that cars are ready for the winter season. And more from North East Lincolnshire Council. The Planning Committee will be holding a meeting on Wednesday the 6th of December. Items under discussion at the meeting include a redevelopment of the former bus station site on the Riverhead, the possibility of a shop on Seaview Street being converted into a bar, and the erection of 54 homes on land off Station Road in Waltham. The meeting's open to the public. Anyone wishing to speak on agenda items is asked to contact Democratic Services on 01472 326 285. More information about the meeting can be found via North East Lincolnshire Council's website. Staff, patients and visitors of Castle Hill Hospital are on the hunt for a missing toy giraffe. Margaret Atkins, 78, was given the giraffe by her 4-year-old great-grandson Jacob Ryder when she was admitted to the intensive care unit at the hospital in Cottingham 9 weeks ago. The giraffe, unnamed, had a rip in its back, and intensive care nurses used surgical tape to seal its wounds before Mrs. Atkins was transferred to another ward as her condition improved. However, the giraffe was lost when Mrs. Atkin was moved again on November the 22nd as her recuperation continued. Now, Jacob's mother, Kirsty, is asking for anyone at the hospital to keep an eye out for the hiding giraffe. Anyone who spots the escapee is urged to contact the communications department at Hull Royal Infirmary on 01482 67 555 Now, I'm joined by Ted Stanley, who brings with him a new writing competition from Hammond House, or rather the results of the last writing competition. Ted, welcome. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Now then, the Hammond House writing competition. I know we've decided the winners for the short stories because I was one of the judges. All the results are in, and the anthologies are ready for publication.
Well, all the results are in. The anthologies are being prepared for publication at the moment. But yeah, it's been a remarkable competition. We've had entries from all around the world, and that's reflected in the shortlist of people. But I'm particularly keen to notice that included in the shortlist, particularly for the short story, there's quite a few local writers, and I've got a list of some of the local people who feature in the short story category, and their stories will all be published in the new Eternal anthology.
Excellent. The theme of this year's competition was the word eternal.
Was internal, yeah. And so the anthology of short stories that will be published for Christmas, hopefully, and included in those are some shortlisted and highly commended ones from locally. There's Curtis Fagg with The Haunting of Emily Whitchurch. There's Sisters in Time from Lena Nicklin. In the Hands of God from Mark Hall, A Matter of Life and Death from Paul Hale, Pop Goes the Weasel from Sharon Dormer, The Hour's Glass from Daniel Darwood, and The Final Adventure from Graham Buckley.
And they're all locals from around the Humber, from Lincolnshire and Yorkshire.
Yeah. And you have the results of the top three.
I have the results. So, shall we do this? The short story competition first.
Okay.
The third place goes to Rihanna Lewis for her At a Junction, her story At a Junction. She's from Monmouthshire. Second goes to Lucy Grace from Nottinghamshire with Swallow Chick. And the winner of the short story competition is In Memoriam by Bridget Blankley from Southampton. So congratulations to her. Must hurry with the poetry, though. Do you mind if I just read out the poetry results?
No, by all means.
Third place goes to Caitlin Stobie from Leeds for The Restaurant of Forever. Second place to Christina Morrison of London for Verse, Colour and Sound. And the first place goes to The Small Strand of the Furthest Reach by Greta Ross in Canterbury. Okay. We've got the results. We've done our main duty there, Ted. Forgive me. These look like printed and published books to me. Where can people get their hands on them?
They'll be available from the 1st of December to order from the Hammond House website, www.hammondhouse.co.uk. And we also forgot to mention the screenplay competition, which was run by Arthur Jolly from Texas, with 8 ball.
From Texas, fantastic.
Yeah. Okay.
Ted, thank you very much. We'll talk more about Bilbourne some other time.
Okay.
Here's Jack with all the sports.
We'll start with football, and Hull City have sent out one of their young players on loan. Goalkeeper Will Mannion has joined League One side Plymouth Argyle on a short-term emergency deal. The 19-year-old joins the Pilgrims on an initial 1-week loan as goalkeeping cover after an injury crisis left the club with a shortage of senior shot stoppers. Mannion's only senior appearance for the Tigers came in the 2-0 Carabao Cup defeat at Doncaster Rovers back in August. In Grimsby Town news, fans will have a chance to pose questions to both their owners and management staff. Grimsby Town's Board of Directors, as well as Chairman of the Mariners Trust, Paul Savage, will be taking questions at a fans forum being held tonight. Manager Russell Slade and his assistant Paul Wilkinson will also be in attendance. The event is taking place at the McMenemy's Suite at Blundell Park. It starts at 7 p.m. and admission is free. Meanwhile, excitement is already building for Scunthorpe United fans ahead of Sunday's FA Cup second round game against Doncaster Rovers. The club confirmed earlier that nearly 900 tickets had already been sold to Iron supporters planning to make the short trip to the Keepmoat Stadium. Free supporters coaches have also been fully booked up as Graham Alexander's men attempt to book their place in the third round of the famous cup competition. And finally, in Rugby League, Hull FC's Scott Taylor has been named on England's extended bench for the World Cup final against Australia. The Black and Whites prop has made one appearance in the competition so far in the 29-10 win against Lebanon. That's all for the sport. Back to Hugh in the studio.
Thanks very much, Jack. Now, congratulations to the winners of these great literary competitions. Big awards ceremony coming up on the 11th of December at Grimsby Institute. That's it for tonight. News story for us, then contact Facebook or Twitter. Email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 01472315553, or you can write to us at Estuary TV, DN345BQ. That'll get to us from all of us here on the team for now. Until tomorrow, good evening.